The game's not bad. I would even say it's better than the Thief reboot.
A few moments later.
Man, I have Batman vision. No way, dude.
I wish I could help. I'm only fluid in sarcasm.
We'll need the glyph stone.
God,
it deciphers
no.
anything.
Game crashed. Wow. Okay. Oh, look, the game crashed. Crash. Yep. My God.
I know you're
God.
near.
Holy Jesus, it's like a law of physics. VR games are cursed to all be mid at best, except for that one obvious good game. Once again, this rule proves to be true with Thief VR Legacy of Shadow, a sequel slash reboot, yet another one, to one of my beloved franchises, which, like many other franchises I love, gets the worst treatment imaginable. I got into Thief very late and absolutely in the wrong order, playing the dreaded reboot Thief about a decade ago. Only later in 2019 I tried Thief Deadly Shadows, and after that I went to play The Dark Project and The Metal Age, and those two games immediately went up to my top 5, pretty much tied for the same spot. So curb the nostalgia cope here, okay? Thief 1 and 2 are good, very good, and so I just had to play this. I had low expectations, knowing how bad Teeth is, and from how the trailers all looked like teeth instead of thief. But I was actually enjoying the game at one point until, well, we'll get there. So for the sake of convenience in this video, I'll refer to both Thief 1 and 2 as just Thief, unless I talk specifically about either of them. Thief is probably the most immersive game ever made. It's at least up there around the top, and that's no detriment to how fun it is. Make no mistake, the gameplay aged better than Deus Ex's, in my opinion. I know it might be a hot take to some, but it's really what I think. In terms of gameplay, it's buttery smooth. System Shock and Thief are the best immersive sim games. It's actually baffling how you can just lose yourself in Thief. The game really pulls your attention to it, and I'm not gonna go in detail on how it does that, because that warrants an entire video on its own. But Thief VR, as I'll call it, did not do its own homework. Characters talk too much in unbelievably cringe ways. There are too many gamey, hand-holding crutches. Its atmosphere and ambience is laughable compared to Thief, but that's enough for the intro, so I'll get to it. I'll start with the good this time, because I was actually enjoying the game at first. The game looks nice, the lighting is pretty for the most part. The shadows of enemies as they walk around light sources look natural, with soft edges and stuff. Bonking guards' heads with the blackjack feels good, and the ability to sprint helps when you're playing untethered in VR, with limited time until the battery runs out. The spatial audio is not the greatest, but they did implement some form of occlusion and reverb to sound, so sometimes they sound good and natural. Unfortunately, that's a minority of times.
This will be an uneventful night.
No such thing as an easy watch. There's a reason why the Baron keeps coming here.
History belongs to the people, not tyrants. Rise the Black Feather!
Loyalty.
I liked how they let you overlook the city in the first mission and in the last one. It looks nice. The game's length is adequate for what it is. I finished it in just under 7 hours. So if not for all the crashes and game-breaking bugs, the average first playthrough probably takes 5 to 6 hours. And that's a breath of fresh air among so many games that are padded out to hell and get insanely tiresome and repetitive by doing so. I also like that the guards that have been knocked out can be awakened if someone finds them. That's one thing the first two games don't do. In them, the guards that find them assume that they're dead and don't try to wake them up. Don't remember if it's like this in Deadly Shadows, to be honest. And now for the bad stuff. Oh god, where do I start? First thing that stood out negatively to me was that the game is too goddamn dark. I really think Doom 3 has been dethroned. I hear that the PSVR 2 version of the game is not as dark, but on PC and Quest, it's really, really dark. Normally, I would be fine with this, because allowing games to be truly dark wherever it's dark adds to immersion. And I miss truly dark nights in video games, including in Hunt Showdown, in which the night was only really dark dark back in the early days of the beta. But in Thief VR, you can't carry lights with you at all. It would have been a nice addition, an option to sacrifice stealth absurdly in order to be able to actually see in the dark. None of the Thief games had this either, but in those games, the dark is not pitch black, so it isn't an issue. Thief VR makes this worse by putting important things you absolutely have to find in complete darkness. My headset's brightness was maxed out, and it didn't help at all. It only made the pitch black look gray. Your only way to see in the dark is by putting your face really close to things, because there's an artificial light entity on your head that I guess serves as a fake eye adaptation like you see in Amnesia and the Penumbra games. So you will often be haphazardly stumbling around in absolute pitch black darkness until you find something important. No graphical options whatsoever in this game. I hear they're gonna put that in there, so at least there's that. But right now there's no way to turn up the gamma. So it's really not worth dousing off torches with water arrows, because then you won't be able to see a goddamn thing. The AI is pretty dumb, so putting out torches is not really needed unless you're attempting to ghost the mission, but I don't think it's needed there either. Maybe they'll patch this, who knows. The next huge issue is the game is glitchy as all hell. It crashed 4 times and froze once, for no apparent reason, with no recognizable pattern to it. They didn't playtest this shit. I'm not the only one having crashing issues either. There are so many glitches in this game. There's one glitch where you get stuck in a semi-crouched state. You can't uncrouch unless you do it IRL and press the crouch button again. It happens about as often, if not more, than that annoying glitch from Thief Deadly Shadows where Garrett will float around in a glitched state. Here I couldn't climb with my left hand anymore, right before the game decided to freeze on me. The vaulting can be bullshit and fuck you up sometimes. Very good. Oh yeah, oh yeah, exactly. Okay, sure. Yeah. Items you grab from tables and stuff will get stuck on them often. Geometry despawns and you only see the shadow of them until they pop back in. The coins your bird gives you when you call it often glitch out when you try to grab them, flying off or just disappearing entirely. Where did it go? Okay. Nice. Very nice.
Yep, still ominous.
Oh my god. Garrett and the main bitch will keep repeating lines out of place whenever you reload a checkpoint.
There's got to be a sequence to these books.
A riddle in hardback. Fitting. Old people always write down their passwords. Always write down their passwords. Old people always write down their passwords. Always write down their passwords.
Doors will go invisible with only their collision left, so it would just be blocked by an invisible wall. The door is missing. There's no door here, but only the collision. Wow. The quit game button doesn't work. This game must have been made by cheats. Also, because if you fall in water, it's an instant death. Remember how it could swim in Thief? It was a huge part of the level design? Well, never mind that. That's too advanced for late 2025. Indians are physically incapable of coding functional bodies of water in games. The game told me my inventory was full when it was absolutely empty and I couldn't pick up items. It's a mess. It's a complete mess. It has some janky autosave feature that sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. So when the game crashes, you gotta pray that it will work. The game does not allow you to reliably set the floor level. Position yourself with your head in a resting position. What the fuck does that mean? I'm gonna crouch and hold A. Let's see what happens. Oh wow, I'm 10 foot tall now. It feels like the text was translated by Indians. Not the first game I've come across that lacks that option. Alien Rogue Incursion also didn't have it. It doesn't save the floor level between sessions, so you'll have to calibrate it every single time you boot up the game. This is truly a minimum viable product, man. Lazy ass devs. Magpie's voice lines will overlap sometimes.
Night. Nothing Another left. Shadow. Just glass, trinket, and silence. Relics.
The game's fucked. There are even more glitches, but I think I've described enough. One thing that I forgot to mention in the last video about VR sucking dick is that in a lot of VR games, including this one, when you walk IRL, the collisions don't really work anymore. So in this game, I was able to just walk forward and phase through walls to grab loot that was supposed to be out of reach. Look, I can walk forward in real life and go through the fence and grab these items. Thanks for that. Using your bow sucks because you have to draw it by pulling your controller right next to your face or behind your head to achieve full power, and the controllers lose tracking if you don't have external lighthouse tracking. The lighting is pretty, as I said, but the spotlights are not. They don't cast shadows, and they simply ignore geometry, which makes it bleed through walls and fuck you over when you're trying to hide. Yep, the light from the spotlight is coming in here. The spotlight outside. There are more technical issues that I'll go over throughout the video, but I want to move on now. Well, here's where things get really bad. Comparisons with the original Thief games will be plentiful. This game is extremely dumbed down, again catering to VR users who are predominantly casuals. Missions in Thief usually take 1.5 to 2 hours to complete, but in this game each one takes about half an hour. The dumbing down started with Deadly Shadows and only got worse with each new entry, but this game is incredibly dumb, even more so than Thief Reboot. The missions are considerably more linear and lack that sprawling, massive and complex level design that Thief had. The buildings are pretty small and simple, while in the OGs they were all gigantic and complex. They had incredibly large floors full of secrets and corners to explore. It's no wonder Thief VR doesn't have a map. It would be completely unnecessary. This game has no difficulty options, and the difficulty you get is extremely easy. In the original Thief, the difficulty settings added more objectives and more restrictions, such as killing human enemies not being allowed, raise the loot goal, and even change the layout of the levels themselves, like closing off parts of the maps, restricting escape routes and shortcuts and such. It not only changed the difficulty itself, but it also changed the way the game was played. It was great. This game has none of that. The only enemies you'll find in Thief VR are the city watch guards. You have a basic guard, a guard with a helmet, a guard with a crossbow, and an armored guard with an axe. That's it. In the originals, you had multiple factions and different themed missions. You had City Watch themed missions, Hammerite missions, horror missions with zombies and other spooky stuff, pagan missions with all kinds of monsters, the Hand Brotherhood mage missions. The enemy variety was frankly great. Just between humans, you had the City Watch, the Hammerites, thieves, and mages. In 2, you had the mechanists also. In 3, you faced the keepers. You had non-human enemies like burricks, spiders, snakes, zombies, weird apparitions like the fire dude, ghosts, the terrifying hammer haunts, mantis man, rat man, wendigos, floating elementals, more and more. But in Thief VR you have none of that, none of those factions. All you have is the City Watch, and there aren't any civilian NPCs either. They really added life to the levels in the originals.
Peaceful, isn't it?
Enjoy it while it lasts, friend. His fatness will be back soon to make our lives miserable again.
Where is he then? I haven't seen him tonight.
Down in the cellar again, counting his loot. I hope he stays down there all night.
Aside from the Keepers being briefly mentioned, none of those factions exist anymore. The Black Feathers, who are allegedly helping you, you only notice their existence by reading some letters, and they barely even appear, aside from like 2 instances. And when they do, they just look like City Watch. They couldn't even be bothered to model a different face for them. The game lacks the different types of floors the OGs had, with each having different loudness for their footsteps. Walking on tiles or metal flooring in the OG was extremely loud, and so you had to use moss arrows or crouch and walk extremely slowly not to make noise that would alert every guard in the vicinity. In Thief VR, all you have is broken glass, which is extremely obvious to spot, and we'll see why very soon. The glass is barely used after it's introduced too. It's used smartly for gameplay purposes only once and then never again. You can't use any tools in this game save for your lockpicks and a bird whistle for a gimmick. For weapons, you have the bow and the blackjack. No sword. There are no flash bombs, no mines or gas mines, no holy water, none of the myriad of potions we had. Your only healing is food when you find it in the levels. Your light gem, aka your visibility level, is either on or off with no in between. There are no gradual levels of visibility like Thieves always had. The tutorial level is done in a way that's completely antithetical to Thief. The OGs were true immersive sims, so the tutorial as well was set in universe coherently as the keepers instruct an apprentice Garrett all the tricks he'd mastered over the years.
Welcome, young Garrett. In the nearby rooms, I will instruct you in the various skills you will need to survive. You must learn how to move unseen. Stay in the shadows. Avoid the light. The indicator on your screen will tell you how visible you are. Try to reach the top of the platform without being seen.
Well done. I did not see you approach.
In this game, Magpie is already a thief, and the tutorial is presented to you in floating text bubbles, which shatter immersion, the worst type of thing for an immersive sim. Not to mention all the white paint they used in all the climbable surfaces, and even in this stupid part of the tutorial, telling you to stand in the darkness. Wow, no shit, Sherlock. I really needed that. I've already seen a bunch of morons excusing this because the paint is not yellow anymore, dude. I knew this would happen. These dimwits are too predictable. Fucking NPCs. When you complete your goals, there's a huge floating exit sign showing where you have to go. I turned off all the helper UI I could, but some of these things just cannot be turned off at all. Immersion? Anyone? Where? The rope arrows, one of the cooler and satisfying mechanics of the originals, where you could shoot them at any wooden ceiling and take the rope up to be creative with the routes you could take, are now only for pre-designated obvious spots, none of them adding much in terms of meaningful new paths you could perhaps take. And the combat is absolutely embarrassing. Guards are no threat whatsoever. If one spots you, all you have to do is parry their strikes 3 times and they will be stunned for some stupid reason, which also looks stupid in practice, and then you can freely knock them out. In the originals, if someone spots you, you'd have to run far away and hide in darkness, or risk fighting them, which, at least on Expert, is a great way to die 9 out of 10 times, or spend your limited tools like flash bombs or gas arrows to knock them out forcibly. The enemies were an actual threat, and Garrett was a wimp next to them, so stealth was absolutely encouraged. In this game though, parries lop the dumb AI 3 times and win. Even facing multiple enemies is a piece of cake. The only enemies that pose a threat are the big axe dudes who can be parried or knocked out. You can kill them with 1 arrow to the head though, and since there's no expert difficulty, you can do it with no issues. The regular guards with helmets are pointless because taking 2 hits to knock them out makes 0 difference in practice. They stay stunned for a long time, more than enough for you to deal with whatever other enemy might be chasing you. The sword fighting in Thief was actually quite intricate because before Thief was a thing, before it was even called Dark Camelot, Looking Glass actually tried to make a fencing simulator. So I imagine that they made a very simplified version of that for Thief. So this janky, cheap-looking parry slop combat is so bad, and the death animation, like there's nothing. Everything just stops and your screen just goes black slowly. It's pretty damn bad. Looting is pointless after a certain point. You can't buy tools before each mission like the OGs had you do and spend all the loot you collected to gear up and make your job easier next time. The more loot you collected, the more gear you could buy, which made looting pretty damn satisfying and encouraged exploration so you could grab everything you possibly could find. In this game, all you get is a perk from your boss mommy after you meet the loot goal, which is a secondary objective by the way, discouraging exploration, and then you can forget about the remaining loot. The only thing you get if you find all the loot is a meaningless achievement. Wow. Half of these perks are useless as well, like the one where healing items heal you more since they already heal you a lot by default, or the one that lowers fall damage, which you only really take if you fall from really high up, or the one that gives you more time in glyph vision, which we'll see what that is later and why that perk is pointless. The last and second to last missions are just rehashes of the second and third missions respectively. They take place in the same locations, and this game has a total of 7 missions. OG Thief games also did this a couple times, but those games had more than double the number of missions that this game has. This one has only 7, so reusing levels is so cheap, man. There are a couple of repetitive gimmicks that have no reason to exist, like the one where you have to blow your bird whistle at pre-designated spots so that it can bring you a coin, just some more loot. Okay, they try to make a gimmick out of the microphone so you can do this and snuff out candles by blowing on them, which is really finicky and much easier to do with your controllers. They thought this would be immersive, but it's really not. In fact, it breaks immersion. It's like those GameCube games that use that extra microphone accessory. I don't know, man. In every mission, there's this same exact bookshelf. You have to pull the special books in the right order to reveal the secret. It's the same thing over and over. In a Thief game, which was supposed to be immersive. Instead, here it is, reminding you of how gamey it is. Wow, that was so hard. That required so much brain power.
It's up here.
Looking Glass worked backwards. They made a simulated world first and then introduced gameplay into their games. That's one of the big reasons their games were so immersive. But a game with the name Thief that has so many repetitive things in it. It has white paint, it has floating bubbles and menus overlaid on top of the world. It has dopamine releasing stats and rewards and perks and achievements. It has interface sounds even when you turn off the UI they're associated with.
A guard. Time for a bit of shadow play.
Who would be crazy enough to try and break in? Someone in the shadows.
That's when I take issue. But the thing that breaks immersion the most, the dumbest and most ridiculous thing this game has, and the first reason why this game is Heresy, is this. After you acquire Garrett's eye and he starts yapping inside your head like he's Johnny Silverhand, you get Batman vision. Yes, you can just put your controller next to your head and press a button to be able to see everything of interest highlighted for you. Enemies, loot, locks, wiring of fuse boxes, everything. Broken glass. And you do it pretty much freely too. There's a pointless stamina bar for it, but it fills up super slow and recharges super fast, so it never presented any challenge. I'm tired of this stupid hand-holdy gimmick they used in every modern stealth game. It's impossible to be immersed like this, knowing I have an easy win button. This game was not made for the Thief fans, it was made for VR fanboys who are fine with dumbed-down games for their dumbed-down medium of entertainment. But you can just turn that off and have your immersion. You control the buttons you press. No, you dumb motherfucker. This game was not designed for you to play without relying on this. Finding a lot of stuff would be a nightmare without this because they didn't design the game for you not to use this feature. And speaking of dumb shit, holy crap, this game has some of the worst AI that I've seen in a while, but I'll let the game speak for itself, so enjoy.
What kind of thief likes creeping in haunted houses?
Baron's not home tonight.
Breaking in.
You snake. Fire! Reloading! Fire! Reloading! Fire! Reloading! Gonna need some! Ah!
You're not as silent as you
Praise God! Still hungry?
Where are you hiding?
Peekaboo! I'll stab you!
No more hiding.
The boss wants this place locked down.
I'll sniff you out! I know that's you!
Probably working with...
They were just here.
They got... Now you will get back for more. You're dead now! Now you back! There you are! Where the hell did you gave yourself away, Taffer? Should have kept running. Nice blow. No escape. Got you. Get off it. Start reloading. Start reloading. Start reloading. Firing. Start reloading. Doesn't end here.
I heard noise. I heard noise. Noise. I heard there.
Gaming.
Yet another great, amazing masterpiece that only VR can provide us. VR bros, do I just have to wait 2 more weeks for VR to flatten that curve vertically and finally lift off? So we can finally get good games regularly? Or at least games that are half as good as the regular ones we play on consoles or PC? Because it's been over a decade already. It's not looking good, VR bros. Now the plot, it's not good, but still, skip to this timestamp if you don't want spoilers for the original games. Usually in Thief games, the story is presented subtly. Garrett is just doing his thing usually, stealing shit from nobles to pay rent cause his landlord is always on his ass, and occasionally having to deal with other troubles that come in his line of work, quote unquote.
That shot was meant for me.
Yes, I'm sure it was Garrett in the window. He's dead. Let's head back now.
These creeps are gonna lead me right back to whoever sent them to kill me.
But then at some point he accidentally gets tangled up in a much bigger plot, or because of prophecy, while doing his jobs. In Thief the Dark Project, it was Constantine, the trickster, who's basically the Satan of Thief, and his dark project, which would unleash hell on Earth. In Thief 2, it's the Mechanists and Karas, who's turning people into basically lobotomized puppet servants, typical of Looking Glass, to create fates worse than death for their game's NPCs, and also Karas planning to gas the entire city. In Deadly Shadows, it's Gamal, the hag, who has infiltrated the Keepers and is trying to unleash a new dark age. Garrett then usually has to put himself into extremely dangerous situations, having to retrieve the eye from the haunted cathedral, or finding a way to weaken Gamal by venturing into the dreadful Shalebridge Cradle, one of the scariest levels in video game history, in a non-horror game by the way, only to save his skin and the world/city by proxy. All these plots and villains are introduced subtly. There are always early signs that there's something bad brewing and creeping into the story and the world before it's made explicit. Think of the way Cell was introduced in Dragon Ball Z. It's one of the best ways, in my opinion, to do it. In Thief VR, the main villain is introduced in the very first mission directly. It's spelled out for you.
It is the 11th year of Baron Northcrest's rule. The city cowers beneath his unyielding curfew.
And then he appears in the second.
Loyalty is met with mercy. Treachery is not.
The guy's the big bad from the beginning to the end. No nuance whatsoever. No surprises, no room for speculation, nothing. There's no plot twist or anything. Baron Nightcrest is trying to open up a portal to hell or something because he thinks he can harness its power to cleanse the city. This plot is presented in the second mission through extremely dumb notes. This professor here just thinks it's a good idea to write these notes about his suspicion of what Nightcrest is doing and leave them scattered in the villain's own observatory, which he can't figure out what it is, even though there are notes written by Nightcrest himself scattered throughout the mansion stating exactly what he's planning to do in non-restricted areas. With a literal note right down there spelling that the guy is up to no good, and this Dr. Professor Edwin Hale can't figure it out. Oh my god. Make it make sense. This was a terrible early sign of what this game was going to be. There's also Cassandra, who's Magpie's boss mommy, and she just has a feeling because she's a woman.
He has a book at Somerville Observatory.
A book? About what?
Keeper prophecies. Deadly in the wrong hands. And Northcrest will turn it into fire.
Cassandra, what the hell's in that book?
I don't know.
Huh? And women totally have special powers of empathy, so they can just sense things. And they're always right, and believe all women, and blah blah blah. It's the same tired shit you see everywhere in modern media. And now for the second reason why this game is heresy. Garrett is dead. They killed him off screen sometime. And this game takes place many years after Deadly Shadows, so he'd be already dead. They could have just made another Garrett game instead of doing this time skip. Or a game where you play as his apprentice that he recruited at the end of Deadly Shadows. No, not that awful reboot character. They could redo it this time and do it right. But the real problem here is that after you acquire his mechanical eye and Garrett Silverhand starts yapping in your head, his lines are awful and out of character. He constantly spouts cringy lines like,
"Don't look down."
Why not? It's a pretty nice view.
Oh my god, Garrett!
She means me, Garrett. Back in the flesh. Sort of.
Looks like the guards complaining about the new manor security.
For once I'm on their side.
Hope these don't give way. Don't feel very secure.
Want me to catch you if you fall? I wish I could help. I'm only fluent in sarcasm.
Look how they mess with my boy.
He becomes a backseat gamer.
Heavy steps. Guard below us. City watch. Down below us. Focus. Use the eye.
Oh my god, Garrett. The Garrett I know would never say things like this. Plus, Magpie, of course, is a girl boss who tells Garrett to shut up, and he just takes it without retort.
Maybe I could teach you some tricks.
You're in my head, but not in charge.
Could have done it quieter.
Feel free to take the lead next time. Oh wait, you're just a voice and a trinket.
Let's stay focused on the glyph stone. Something down there worth taking.
I don't need your help, thanks. I was doing fine until you got stuck in my head.
Way I see it, we're a team now.
Well, there's no I in team.
It's like, you're a fucking idiot, dude. Period. Absolute moron.
He never cared for anyone but himself, pretty much.
You have more friends than you know. Tell my friends that I don't need their secret book, or their glyph warnings, or their messengers. Tell them I'm through. Tell them it's over. Tell them Garrett is done.
But now he desperately wants to be included and participate and be a team with this total bitch of a stranger who doesn't even like him. So this game is also a humiliation ritual for Garrett, who's now replaced by a stupid Bent who doesn't have 1% of the aura he had, who talks too much and her lines when she's not pathetically patting herself on the back like this.
Still too smart for Northcrest's foot soldiers.
Yeah, you go, girl.
Guard below us.
I'll be gone before he blinks. That bounty's insulting. I'm worth double that.
Doubt.
Just need to reach the gate.
Last stretch is where most get caught.
I'm not like most.
Then she gives us super high quality commentary.
That switch has gate control written all over it.
It says alarm.
Back window. Classic.
God, this commentary, man.
Going on.
A scaffold is meant for climbing.
Halfway.
Amazing commentary. Magpie, like genius level.
Northcrest has terrible taste in decor.
Why?
Dayport iron. Could be something inside.
I reckon so.
No way, dude. There's something inside a building with people in it? No way. The plot is as straightforward as it can get, and it's a simple matter to deal with Nightcrest. We just sneak into some places guarded by his City Watch goons, steal an important item to his ritual, and leave. No danger can be felt, it's not scary, you don't venture into desolate and cursed places, nothing. There's zero tension in the story. At one point, Nightcrest kidnaps Cassandra and kills your pet bird, which was barely even acknowledged by its owner, the main character, Magpie, in the entire game. So he just feels like a lifeless prop who's only ever used to deliver loot to you to justify this silly gimmick of blowing with your microphone in VR. And then the final boss fight is just the most pathetic thing I've seen. Once again, I'll let you see my reaction to it.
Primal Ultimate.
Okay.
Right.
That guard! He's getting up! The glyphs. Opening for me.
I stand.
Is this what he wanted?
How challenging!
It's letting go.
Return.
This is embarrassing.
That's not a man anymore.
No.
I will not be understand.
Keepers always take the road. One last prophecy fulfilled.
Oh my god. What a disappointment. What a shame. No wonder they made this game for VR. Every single game that looks like shit on the trailers and reveal proves to be just that when it comes out. And it being made for VR and having the Thief logo instead of the Thief logo was more than enough evidence for those who have an IQ in the triple digits with basic pattern recognition to see it was gonna be a disaster. And so it is. And that's it for Garrett. At the end of the game, he fades away, effectively killing him forever. Yet another icon of a beloved franchise killed by people who took it from the original dev's hands and defiled it beyond all hope. Here are some more reasons why you shouldn't bother with this and instead play the original Thief games. Thief always used these short looping meditative drones to glue your attention to the game. It didn't really have a music score, only ambience, save for the cutscenes in between missions, and one specific example in-game, but it managed to create a hell of an atmosphere. It gave life to the levels, and only in the Looking Glass games you feel like every little corner of the level has something more to it, even if there's really nothing there, and that's due to the unique atmosphere only they could create. If those games were more popular, you can bet your ass there would be video essayists talking about what's going on here in this inconspicuous little corner like they do with old Zelda or Super Mario 64. There were strange noises and scare chords that would play for reasons known only to Looking Glass.
Huh?
It added a layer of mystery and tension to the levels. The Thief games are really tense and moody, and even if you manage to knock out all guards and be alone in the level, the atmosphere alone carries it. And exploring the levels to look for loot and secrets like this is a very enjoyable experience. Thief VR has none of this. It has 2D music playing at all times. It even has combat music if you're spotted. Doesn't allow you to immerse yourself. It's not spatialized to the level, and it sounds like generic Western RPG music.
A waste of time. All this for a rock on a pedestal. It's not a rock, it's something older. The Baron visits daily, watches it in silence.
There are no strange sounds to put you on edge. There's barely any interesting ambience noises. Nothing. The soundscape is boring as hell. Lockpicking in Thief was extremely simple. Just equip the right lockpick and use it on the door until it opens, or alternate between lockpicks until it unlocks. In Thief VR, it's also simple. Just rotate them until your controllers vibrate, wait, and repeat. But in Thief, the sound for lockpicking is honestly one of the most satisfying sounds in existence. It made lockpicking satisfying despite being so simple. While in Thief VR it's not terrible, but not nearly as good. All the characters save for Garrett are now British for some reason. I guess they opened up a portal to the United Kingdom and the city just fell there. Magpie, Cassandra, even the enemies. All the guards are now British.
Sergeant Dorman vanished last week. No one's saying a thing. Loyalty will be rewarded, but keep grumbling, and I might start thinking you're one of them.
Oi bruv, do you have a license for that blackjack? They also lack that personality that they had in Thief. They'd be goofy and funny. It was very Kino.
The surgeon really beef up securities.
What do you mean? What's wrong with us?
Well, we're fine. But I've been thinking we should watch the outsides more.
That's stupid. People to worry about there on the inside.
No, then you catch them before they get inside, you taffer.
Oh!
You hear about Sutter's job last night? Heard he came in pretty late. He get something good?
Don't he wish? He's up in this lady's bedroom, all quiet like, when he hears feet outside.
He got caught?
Nothing so tame. He can scarp out the way he came quick enough, but he don't want to go till he's got something. So he sweeps everything on the dresser, jewelry, candlesticks, whatnot, into his sack, gets halfway down the stairs, when the sack starts leaping about.
What?
He's cut the lady's cat, too. Cat claws a hole in the sack. Everything falls out except the cat. And that's halfway up his arm with claws every which way. He had to jump in the river to get the damn thing off. Left a trail of blood and water over half the city just going home.
In Thief VR, all the guards are unlikable goons who suck up to their masters and are try-hard tough guys with no soul whatsoever.
Would be helpful if we knew what the Baron's plan is, though.
Above my pay grade. And yours. Less talking, more walking. Sorry.
Picked up a new blackjack off the chainer. Hangs just right on the belt. Weighty and
That's my blackjack.
Next
Right on his
curfew
belt.
dodger I find gets a proper nap.
The Baron feeds
Think
us
I'll
soldiers.
stroll the tavern.
Only thing I've eaten
Let
all night.
everyone see my new toy.
Plus, they're all try-hard poets now or some shit.
Walk your route, pocket your doubts. Yes, sir. But questions have long shadows.
Wind up here carries whispers.
Everybody's a poet now. When they attack you, they slide forward, which gives them unfair extra range, a common trope in modern games. Plus, they can hit you from behind walls. It's pure jank. Your home base in the clock tower feels completely pointless. You can't buy shit from the trader post. The notes Cassandra leaves behind don't change. It's always the same text. You can't interact with anything. The environments in this game are utterly static. Even loot that's in high places cannot be knocked down with arrows, even though they pierce through the loot visibly. I think that's enough. The video is too long already for a game like this. So the TLDR is, this game is very dumbed down compared to the real Thief games. Garrett reappearing only in voice as a cameo is cheap nostalgia bait. Magpie sucks as a character, doesn't even come close to Garrett. The atmosphere, which is the best thing about Thief, is completely gone. And the game is VR only, so Thief fans who don't care about VR are gonna have to buy one to play it, but it's not worth it, so don't do that. The AI is horrendous, and the game is infested with glitches, at least for now. Some of the gameplay is a little satisfying, but that's it. So I give this game a 5.5 out of 10. Extremely mid and superficial. If they somehow fix all the glitches and improve the AI, it could be a 6. But for reference, Thief, Goad, or The Dark Project, and The Metal Age are all 10 out of 10s. Can't recommend them enough, and Deadly Shadows to me is like an 8 or 8.5. So there you have it. Hope you enjoyed. See you later.